So I recently came back from a trip in which I had to deal with TSA. Now, at one point in my life, I was avoiding all sorts of things. I wouldn't go through the X-ray machine and all that kind of stuff. But eventually, I came to the point where the hassle is so much that I'm just going to go through here, give up a little bit more of my rights, and just send me through. All right, just make this quick. But here's my rights. There you go. And I see that happening a lot more in society for convenience. A lot of people are just going with the flow. That's what people are doing. Just going with the flow and giving up a little bit more of those rights. I was in TSA recently and I had matches on me. I had pepper spray that I kept with my keys here. And when I went through the flight the first time, everything was good, peachy keen. I had the matches with me, pepper spray. Go on, sir. When I came back on my return trip, they were like, nah, what's not going to happen is we're going to confiscate all these weaponries you have, right? So on the way back, they took my matches, and I wasn't able to keep my pepper spray. But then it makes me think, it's like, why didn't the other people confiscate these weapons of mass destruction when I had them in the first place? Interesting. It just reminds me of the border crossing meme that it didn't crack me up the first time. It just made me feel some type of way. It has someone in a TSA line in the first part of this meme, and they're getting patted down, the whole nine. And then you have, someone coming across the border and they're like letting them through. It's like mercy. We're getting the whole shebang over here, and people are just crossing over. And that's probably why people are upset these days. They're like, you know what? These people are getting it better than I'm getting it. They get that, $100 a month. They got those tickets for food, those EBT, those, food stamps and all this stuff. Where are my food stamps? So I can understand why people will be angry about that. But that was a meme that was like, opening my eyes, realize. Just going through my notes here. All right. Oh, so recently I've seen pictures of Laura Loomer. I did not do too much research on her. I did see her on social media. She seems to be a far right supporter, of everything right and white she supports. And apparently she was going through some of these rumors about certain things. I should have done more research, but I saw certain pictures of her and our former president, number 45, in very cozy positions, and kind of raises some eyebrows, maybe one or two eyebrows. You're like, who is this Laura Loomer type? She seems to be, harmless. So hopefully there's no shenanigans, malarkey, some hanky-panky going on between her and the current president. It's just interesting. It's just interesting to see her more, very close to him. And where's Melania? Melania? I hope I'm saying her name right. Where is Melania right now? We're seeing a lot more of this Laura Loomer type. All right. And I recently heard a conversation that our former president had with, I want to say his name is Farouk on Instagram. I think he has a YouTube as well. He was on there on X with his son Eric, and also I think Barron was in the vicinity. They were talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Now apparently that was hot a couple years ago with people selling everything from monkeys to maybe giraffes and different things, and arts and memes and things. I should have jumped on it, but at the time I didn't know what, in theory, what these NFTs are. They're digital arts or things that you can sell that people really want. But can you flip it? Does someone else want that? Right now it doesn't seem to be hot, but you always see those monkeys and things when you go to art museums and stuff. But at the time, yeah, you'd sell something for $25,000 and people would actually buy for something that, if the internet was down, how would you be able to enjoy it or view it? If the electrical grid went down, how would you keep this art? So that's what was interesting for me. So recently I saw a video of Amber Rose. I did not realize this, but Amber Rose spoke for the RNC, Republican National Convention. This is about 2 years ago. So in 2022, she spoke at the RNC and kind of gave her testimony. I don't know if you want to call it that. Her road to Trump, if you will. I did not realize that. I mean, it makes sense. She was a dancer at one time, I guess a model. Maybe she's acted a couple times here and there. But it just struck me funny to have Miss Amber Rose speaking at the RNC. And there's all kinds of people that do things for the DNC, so nothing should surprise me anymore. I heard that, what's her name? Megan Thee Stallion was shaking her groove thing at the DNC recently. You know, whatever you have to do to get the votes, I guess. As I talk a lot more to other people, it's like, who is the right person for our country, right? All these questions here. All these questions. Reading the notes here. I wish I could read my notes. I decided to do this one without a mic tonight, so hopefully you guys can hear me. Yeah, Amber Rose. Okay, Disney. Recently, I went down some rabbit holes with Disney. So I grew up on Disney, went to Disneyland, Disney World, all that kind of stuff. Watching the movies, you know, playing with the toys, Toy Story, all this kind of stuff, Bambi. But if you pay attention to it, a lot of these stories that Disney bases their movie off of are quite dark stories. And then when you watch the actual movie of Disney, there's a lot of dark things, a lot of sensual activity going on. Can you feel the love and all this rigmarole and stuff like that? And there's also a lot of programming. I know a lot of my sensual tastes today are made in part because of the programming that I got in the Disney movies. You know, having these, 36, 24, 38, 45, 107, these types of bodies, that's kind of the types that I go for these, or that I look at these days because of my programming of Disney. Case in point, Jessica Rabbit, right? She's that typical, baddie build, if I can be so loose in saying that. The baddie build that a lot of us brothers go for, right? The baddie build that Disney has been putting in their movies forever. All the princesses, what is that? We don't have any princesses anymore. They do exist, but Disney princess, affects the guys and the girls. How many of us women have 13-inch waists, right? It just doesn't happen. But in these worlds that Disney puts out there, it just conditions us to look for a certain thing or become a certain thing. And a lot of those movies were dark. I'm like, man, those Shirley Temple movies were dark enough. I'm going back to the comedian Whitney Cummings, but she talks about the Shirley Temple movies again, how she was in these weird situations, and she was only a 4-year-old girl at the time. It's like, what in the world are, Whitney Cummings is saying, what are all these grown men doing around this one girl? Where are her parents? Where's her mom, sister, siblings, stuff like that. So also Disney has conditioned a lot of us, from children to what we've become today, right? But also, if you think about it, the Disney World and Disneyland is a utopia or a dystopia for what, people want the world to be in the future. Food being... I remember going to Disney, I think it was Disneyland, Disney World, Disneyland, one of the two. I want to say I got a personal pan pizza, 4 slices, tiny little thing, for $20. Now, if that ain't telling the future or, wanting the future to be a certain way, let me know what that is. It's already they're programming people to live in this perfect world where pizzas, tiny little pizzas are $20, and, you're just waiting in line to take the ride. Take the ride of life there. So get out of that what you will, okay? So I wanted to get on here and talk about auto technology again, because technology in general is just fascinating. It's like a lot of this technology we've been sitting on. Case in point, have you seen the Back to the Future movies or the James Bond movies? there's a lot of technology in there that at the time it was maybe, a thought. Now that stuff is here now. One thing in particular in the James Bond movies was the global positioning systems that they showed maybe in the 61 and 71 videos there in those videos that came out, showing the global positioning system. Now we have it and we just take it for granted, a lot of us, right? And in the Back to the Future movies, you had a lot of hologram and three-dimensional things popping out. And now that stuff is just second nature, right? The holograms. I remember seeing Blade Runner 2049 and just seeing the technology that they're doing with almost like artificial intelligence. That's kind of what we have going on right now, right? It's like, how are modern day people going to compete with AI spouses, AI girlfriends? It's not such a big thing yet. A lot of the AI spouses and stuff are limited, right? It's like you get your avatar, you can change the hair color and stuff like that. But as for the voice has different tones and modes, but it's pretty much the same voice, same information, same speaking. But once you can get someone who is almost indistinguishable from flesh and bone, that'll be the day. I know it's coming upon us because there's so many videos. The transhumanistic movement, right? It's like out with the old humans, in with the new, where you're half machine, half man, bionic. And that's been programmed into us since the most early times, right? The robot dance and all this stuff. And what was that one that was very futuristic? It was like a animation back from like the 40s, I want to say. It wasn't, I don't know. The show was before my time. But anyways, in the show, they had like a family of the future, and I believe they had a cleaning robot. And cleaning robots, that's like a dime every dozen house out here, right? The robot vacuum cleaner and stuff like that. There is another robot that came out that Samsung's doing. I forget the name of it, but I saw a short little clip of it, and it had this, almost like a little loaf of bread going around the house, this yellow color, and it seemed like it greets you. It keeps the dog at bay. It just does all these wonderful things as far as entertainment is concerned. So talking about auto technology, I recently saw something. I think it was a fake something that someone did. It showed people in a restaurant, and just the way it's shot. When a lot of these things are shot, and I say it's fake, it's because the zooms are very like post-production, like very post-production to it. I know a lot of zooms that I do in real life, they're not that smooth and bouncy and flowy like that. It's just like voop, boop, like that. But this is just like boom. It's just like very post-production and the perfect framing and stuff like that. And you have like these model-like people. Anyways, I'll set up the frame for you. So these people are in a restaurant, and they're in a coffee place, maybe a Starbucks, a Norma Jean, Norma Bean, something like that. And they're sitting there, and you see this lady like turning around. And of course, as a viewer, you're like, why is she turning around? And then it strikes you eventually through the second time you're watching this, that she's watching this vehicle, which happens to be a Porsche Mavic or Mayan, something like that. I don't know what this Porsche is. But apparently these models, because they're dressed up, very attractive people, in these different high-end colors. And as they walk past the car changes into that color, y'all. So what they were saying in this ad is apparently this futuristic car, it'll change to whatever uniform you are wearing. Let's say yesterday I wore a white shirt with a blue tie. It'll be a white car with a blue stripe right down the middle, right? Today, in black. So it's going to be a black on black vehicle. And so this little advertisement, I don't know if it was an official advertisement because it seemed like super fake, but it was kind of like a viral type of thing going on. Almost like, you remember the bouncing Maybach cars that get out of sand? It almost looks like someone's hitting switches or airbags or hydraulics, but it's actually like this sand getting out of the device. So yeah, I saw this ad for the Porsche Maya can. But there's actually a thing that, what's that blonde woman's name that does those auto shows? She always goes to different places. The Blondie, Bombshell, Car Babe. Anyways, I saw a video of hers that showed her in Vegas at the car show from 2022 doing the BMW X Flow demo. So apparently with this car, you have like a key fob. I guess you can change the color of the vehicle. And I think it has to do with waves and radio waves and all that kind of stuff. But what was interesting is when she changed the vehicle from like a dark blue to like a pearlescent type color, I guess it's the fuel tank cap, it just still stayed like the dark color. So in that case, kind of gave it away. But if it changed everything, like the top part, the rims, everything, that would be cool. And apparently the rim color does change on the iX Flow BMW vehicle. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Just the technologies are so exciting, even with the robots. Not even so much the AI situation, but like the robots themselves walking and running and doing backflips by themselves. I know robots telling from movies like Terminator and all these things are going to be the demise of us, but boy, do they look fun. If I had the opportunity to have like a helpful robot here just to do dishes, take out the trash, why not? It looks very fun. You know, maybe for some home security. That'll be cool, huh? Yeah, if anything resonates with you guys, put it in the comment section below. I know more stuff is coming out about this alleged pop of, number 45, and that's very interesting. At first, I was under the impression yesterday that the rumor was that it was an attempt again against the president. And then after I did some other research, it seemed like there was altercation out there. But now I'm coming to the realization, or maybe what mainstream media is telling us, that apparently some guy is behind it, and he was in a video from a few years ago. So that's very interesting. Very interesting. As more information comes out, and of course the internet did what the internet does and did some research on him. And apparently he had a Biden-Harris sticker on his vehicle. I just know as we get close to whatever we're getting close to here in November and January, there's going to be stuff that may be true, it may not be true, but just stay wary out here, folks. People are working on getting votes, and the things that I've heard about. All right, so you have the president, right? But you have the people that congregate, the House, the Senate, and all this type of thing, right? So apparently for the last 3.5 years, the Republicans held most of that. So if that's the case, if the Republicans held most of that, that means that we're complaining about border issues and other issues that really we could have changed. And if that's the case, that is, opening eyes. Because if you're in power, or it seems like you're in power and you're not doing anything about it, interesting. It's like going for that long game. It's like losing the battles for now, but winning the war. Or losing the war. Tell me what you guys think about that. A lot of interesting things coming out. And what is truth, right? What is truth, as Pilate would say? Only time will tell, my friends. Stay blessed and keep the faith. Amen.